All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. It is your boy, the Guru, which is me. That's Terry. So I know it's been a while since since I've done a podcast episode, and I promise you guys I'm going to stop being wishy-washy. And sometime with this thing, it's just I had to take a little bit of a break. But a lot of things to talk about tonight. I got some personal stuff I want to get off my chest, and we'll talk about some other things that's happening. So stay tuned. Right back.
Welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. This podcast was designed to let you know that you aren't the only one that took forever to get it together. So the rabbit hole that you have stumbled down will hopefully help you understand that just when you think it's over, it's only the beginning. Just because you were dealt a bad hand doesn't mean you have to keep it. Welcome to the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast.
All right, guys, and welcome back to the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. Again, this is your boy, the Guru. This is Terry. I always go by Guru on social media because that's what I'm known by. And only the people that know me personally calls me by my government name. That's what they say, my government name. But a lot of things I want to get into tonight, though, that I want to talk about. First of all, I want to give a shout out to back home. I'm from a small town outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, called Wadesboro, which is in the county of Anson. And we've had a few deaths of high school seniors and things of this nature who are getting ready to enjoy their life, and their life is cut short. And we had another passing of a young man who died in a one vehicle accident. This young man was the son of a classmate of mine. And so my heart goes out to the county. My heart goes out to my classmate. My heart goes out to his family. Because, man, these kids are just dying way too soon, man. Life is, and it makes you wonder a little bit, like what's going on in the world? You know, what's going on in the world when we're losing children left and right? I mean, you got, gun violence and, mass shootings, and they had a shooting just the other day down in I forget, I think it's in Tennessee, but don't quote me on that. But what I will talk about, though, is the incident with the young man in New York who was he was a Michael Jackson impersonator who was choked out by a retired Marine on a subway station just the other day. And I gotta tell you, it's like watching that video of that Marine choking out this man on the subway. It totally gave me George Floyd type vibe. And this young man, this retired military veteran, has not been charged in this particular murder, even though the autopsy reads that it was a homicide. So why hasn't this young man been arrested for the murder of this young man? And it's just sad, man. The world's in shambles if you think about it. I mean, you got, like I said before, you got mass shootings. You got lawmakers who are trying to tell women how to, they're shutting down, having abortion bans and telling women they can't have health care. And it's just really stupid. And I'm thinking to myself, going, I've been on this rock for 48 years, man, and I've seen a lot of things. But the things that we're talking about today is extra dramatic. Is the word I'm looking for. It's probably not the word I should be using, but that's the one that comes to mind. And I'm like, okay, but why are we going through this? Because I remember when I was coming up in school, when I was in the 4th and the 5th grade, man, we didn't have this. And there was a talk of mental health. There was talk of someone being, LGBTQ. That was even a term back when I was in school. Like, if you felt that way, you didn't say it, and I'm not, and it's probably why a lot of the people that are older, that's in the LGBTQ, are traumatized, because we couldn't talk about that kind of thing. We just couldn't. And so it's different. I was talking to one of my coworkers at my new job, which we'll get into in a little bit, on my new job. And, what really is this world coming to? to where things that they're saying the quiet parts out loud, and then this is what we've come to. A lot of people are upset with the LGBTQ drag queens reading the kids, and people have different opinions about that. I'm of a different opinion about that. I won't talk about that in this episode, but it's crazy. It's crazy that it's happening this way. And like I said, when I was coming up, man, you didn't talk about that kind of thing. You didn't talk about homosexuality because, for one, I grew up in the church, and that was definitely a no-no. And then those are people who weren't in church. It was then taboo. You can't talk about that now, then, but now though, it's just out there. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? You know what I'm saying? What are you thinking about the LGBTQ? What are you thinking about Ralph Neely, the young man who was killed on the subway in New York? What do you think about that? Do me a favor, hit me up in the email at knuckleheadchroniclespodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's knuckleheadchroniclespodcast@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Should the Marine be charged with murder after the slaying of this young man on the subway? While I'm here in the current events sector, I want to give a shout out and send my prayers out to Jamie Foxx, who is recovering. There's no word on what's going on with him. The only thing that the family is saying is that to have continued prayers for Jamie. So I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be one of those people. If Jamie Foxx passes away, which we all gonna do it at some point in time, but if Jamie Foxx passes away, I'm gonna be hurt because I grew up on Jamie Foxx and Wanda, and all the characters he did on In Living Color, and his songs and his albums and everything that he's done. I grew up on Jamie Foxx, so I'll be one of those folks that would probably shed a tear or two if something happens to Jamie right now behind this. But I did read a story about Jamie Foxx that he had a stroke, but the daughter came out and said that it was just a medical emergency. She didn't really say what it was, but the article that I read was that he had a stroke. But TMZ didn't report it, so I don't listen. If it's not TMZ, I won't listen to it because TMZ they're always on point. We also lost a legend in Jerry Springer. And a lot of people talking about Jerry Springer. I mean, again, that's another one that I grew up on. I grew up on Jerry. I grew up on that. Even though, about halfway through, you knew that the show was staged and that they're paying people to come on there and fight. But Jerry Springer still has some nuggets that he dropped, at the end of every episode. And he will close his show with "Take care of yourself and each other," and that was just, that line was iconic, and people still use it. And if you stay long enough, listen to the end of this podcast. When I got the outro done, I used that same Jerry Springer quote at the end or the outro of this podcast. So it's kind of crazy. I was telling you, Jerry Springer was an icon, and he will be greatly missed. Rest in peace, Jerry Springer. Prayers out to his family and all of that. All right. So we're going to get into the meat of this podcast and why I am here, because there's some stuff that I want to get off my chest. I really want to go ahead and get it off because it needs to be said. And so I'm going to go ahead and say it. The title of this podcast here is called "One is the Loneliest Number." And it is. I don't care what nobody tell you. One's the loneliest number. However, that one could be the most important number, because if you're that one, you have the ability to rethink or look back over your life and go, I should have done this a little bit differently. Like right now, I'm home by myself. My family is on a road trip. My wife and my son and my daughter, they're on a road trip. They're there. I think the last time I got a text from her, she was down in Florida, down in Orlando, as a matter of fact. She loves road tripping and all that good stuff. So that's, what she does. So, excuse me. the reason why I titled this One's Loneliest Number, because I'm able, while they are gone, I can sit here and contemplate life. Now, my wife and I have gone through a lot of, issues, and trust me, and I'll take responsibility for everything, that, I'm the common denominator, which leads me to my first point. If you listen to this podcast, if things keep happening to you and you can't figure out why they keep happening to you, and they just keep happening over and over, it's like an episode of Groundhog Day, right? Every time something happens, it's the same thing happens to you all the time. 9 times out of 10, you're the common denominator. You're the person. You're the issue. And so we have to be able to look into the mirror and take accountability for what we have done or said. Right? Now, that's me in a nutshell, right? My wife and I, the 99.7% of the issues that has happened in my marriage with my wife is my fault, because I've done or said something stupid, or I've done and said something disrespectful, or, even if she perceives it as disrespect, and I don't think that it is, don't matter what I think. It's about how she takes it or perceives it. So I said, I've done a lot of stupid crap, and I'm not going to curse on my podcast. I did it on the panel edition, but I won't do it on my personal one. But I made a lot of dumb mistakes. So that is the reason for the hiatus that I took from social media, which I didn't post on Facebook. I don't even have a Snapchat anymore. I don't do a lot of, social media, TikTok, anything anymore. I just now got back into the podcasting game. And the only reason why I did that was because my guy, Ernest E. Digger, hit me up and was like, yo, do you want a guest spot on his podcast? And so once he did that, it kind of rejuvenated my stuff. All right. So let me start yakking. Here's what, this is how I got here. Just to give you guys a little bit. I'm transparent. Anybody listening to this podcast will tell you I'm a very, very transparent dude, right? And I made so many mistakes and bad choices. Here it goes. About 6 months ago, I lost my job at a dealership that I love very much. And to this day, I still at the dealership, and the fact that I'm not there anymore is still hurtful to me. And the circumstances surrounding the fact that I'm not at the dealership anymore. I'm not going to get into the circumstances of it, but I'll just tell you that, I'm a little bit pissed off that I'm not at that dealership still, right? Because with that dealership, I made a lot of money. I was able to provide for my family. My wife was a stay-at-home mom. We lived life a little bit bougie, all that. You know what I'm saying? So with the circumstances behind what happened with that job is what has me in that place of pissed off with them. So that was in September of 2022. I lost that job. Okay. So after that, I tried to get a job in a dealership. And I live here in a metropolitan city, town, I guess. And so all the dealerships also are owned by the same auto group. And once you work with one dealership in the auto group, you can't work for any others. I found it the hard way. So I even tried to get a job at the competition, a Chevrolet dealership I tried to go to, a Mercedes-Benz dealership I tried to go to, BMW I tried to go to, and nobody would give me an opportunity. I even went to the capital, which is not the next town, but the next major city over from where I live, and I couldn't even get a job down there, and I said, okay. So September started a lot of the issues, okay? And at this point in time, my wife left to go up to Illinois because her dad was sick, was falling sick, and he needed a liver, and they thought he was going to, expire on us. So she went up there and to take care of her father. The day that she went up to take care of her father, the same day I got fired, right? So after that, it was turmoil because there was no more money coming through here. So I had to get a job driving Uber. And so I drove as much Uber as I could, I did what I could, to make the ends meet. Again, my wife is gone. She's been gone. It's me, my daughter, and my son. My daughter was in school for a little while. That didn't pan out because she had some issues with school. So we decided to pull her, things of that nature. But, that was rough. September, October, really rough. So what I'm realizing is that women like security. That's what, at this point, I'm realizing that women need security. And because I did not offer that security as a man, as a father, as a husband, she was like, I can't do this, even though she wasn't here. Right. So we were still having phone conversations, and, I was stupid. I was dumb with the money, and what little bit of money that we had, I was doing dumb stuff with it. And, not really doing anything crazy, but just not doing what I was supposed to do. So, things got dicey between us real quick. So she came home eventually in November. They found her dad a liver. He got better. He came home. They had to adjust some stuff when he first came home, because, if you have a liver problem, your chemical imbalance can be off and things like that. So they had to adjust his meds and all that. So she got him stabilized. She came home. And it was rocky. When I tell you, it was rocky. And a lot of things that were said between us, was like damaging, but I could not get mad at her because of what happened, because it was my fault. Right. But that didn't stop me from being pissed off. You know what I'm saying? And any man that has gone through that is not going to stop us from being pissed off. We're going to stay pissed off now, even though it's our fault. Which brings me to my second point. Fellas, stop doing that. Take accountability for your actions. Take accountability for your actions. You'll hear me say that a lot. Take accountability for your actions. If you said it and you did it, wear that shit. Excuse me. I know I said I wasn't going to cuss on my podcast, but I had to get that one out. Stand on that. You made a mistake. You messed up. You disrespected her. You did whatever. You did it. Stand up. Stand on it. The thing with some men is that we don't want to stand on our stuff. We want to do it and just kind of see what we can get away with. Even though it's the dumbest stuff you've ever done. Just stupid. Just stupid. You ever see somebody do something and you look at them and you're like, that was dumb, right? And they know that it's stupid. And they still look at you like, what I do? I ain't do anything. That was me. I was that idiot. I would. And we got into, so there was one point in November, I think it was, my wife came to me and she says, I want out. I want a divorce. And I was like, what? And she was explaining to me all the reasons why she wanted out. And stuff that had happened years ago came up in this conversation. Which brings me to my third point. Fellas, take the temperature of your relationships. Find out what's going on in the relationship. Find out how she's feeling. Find out where she is. One thing that we can't do, fellas, is get to the point of being complacent. Men, by our nature, we just feel like she ain't going nowhere. She's gonna be right here when I come back, And a lot of times it doesn't happen that way, right? So when you're not checking in and seeing where we are emotionally, when you're not checking in to find out where her comfort level is with you. I mean, even though there are signs, and if you're a man worth your weight in salt, you're gonna know the signs. But it's still our job to make sure that our wives, significant others, girlfriends, whatever, are comfortable. If they ain't comfortable, guess what it's gonna be for you? Uncomfortable. So that's, you know what I'm saying? And so when she said that to me in November, I want to divorce. I want out. And I was devastated, shocked, and mad all at the same time. I don't know if you've ever had those three particular emotions in one, but that's a tough. I was shocked, devastated, and mad all at the same time. And I was like, but me being mad was in my selfish state. I was mad at her for not doing what I thought was the wifey thing, right? Because men, we're looking for the wifey, right? So I was mad at her. Now I was shocked. The shock came from I never thought that I would hear her say that to me. That's where the shock came in at, right? I was like, what? Like, huh? You gonna tell me you want a divorce from me? You gonna say it to me, to my face? So that fueled the anger. Like, how when you were kids and your mother or your father would come into the room and they would fuss at you and you'd be like, okay. And you was like, okay. But then as soon as they walk out of the room, you cuss them out. It's kind of like Debo. It's kind of like Smokey did Debo on Friday. Debo come in and like, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And Chris and Smokey said, that's all right. When he say shut the fuck up, I'll shut the fuck up. But when he leave, I'll be talking again. That's kind of like that. And so that was me. How dare you tell me that you want a divorce? So I was angry, stupidly, but I was still angry. Like you got to be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? You got to be kidding me. I was like, okay, and that's okay. Let me get myself together. So we talked it out, and and for me, it was still that kind of, I don't know where we at. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And we just kind of lived life. And she said to me, well, don't worry about us. Do you? Not sure what that means. That. And so that fueled some insecurity for me. Cause I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know what that means. I know. And you probably listened to me. What she said, do you? I mean, but you just can't say, here's my process. Like I said before at the top of the show, I'm 48 years in the game here. You can't tell your husband, do you? That's not what we do here. That's but I had to figure it out. And it's taking me some time and I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, I'm not out of the woods on this thing. I'm still like, what the hell does do you mean? Don't worry about us, do you? And that's kind of the mode that we're in. And it's like, that's a tough place to be. And as a man, I'm trying to figure this thing out. I'm trying to go to work still and look at people, trying to figure it all out. Tough, hard, right? Hard stuff. So, so again, no, couldn't do nothing but Uber between, September and December. That's kind of what it was. And I ended up getting a job with the Missouri Department of Corrections, which not mad at them. Thankful to those folks for giving me the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Went to the academy, all that. And it was really, really rough. But I got to tell you, in that period of time, between September and December, my wife hated me. There are days where I still think she hates me, to be honest with you. And so I'm trying to, does she really hate me? Hold on one second. And so I'm like, okay. And in those days where I feel that she hates me is the days where I'm confused and a mofo. I don't know whether I'm coming. I'm just going to be real with you. It comes to, I don't know whether I'm coming or going. To the day. This is May 4th. May the 4th be with you. All that good stuff. And I still have that. I don't know what's going down here. But the only thing that I can do and what I'm left with is just to do what she said in the very beginning of this thing. Do you? What about you? And so I can't worry about what's going on between us. I just got to do what feel good to Terry. So, which leads me to my last and final point is that, fellas, ladies, it doesn't matter who's listening to this podcast. Take care of yourself. That means physically, emotionally, mentally, most importantly. Because no one is going to do this for you, right? No one is going to make sure that you're okay outside of you, right? Now, our job, if we have significant others, is to be a help, right? We are there to support them. But realistically, the only person that's going to help us out of our funk, going to help us, is us. If I continued to be like, oh my God, I can't believe that she's doing this. If I did all that, I would stay in a place of craziness, right? I would stay in a place of like, I don't know what's going down. But it's like in the back of my head, it's like, what's going down here? I do question that in the back of my brain, but at the same time, I have to move forward, right? And we're still a family. We still do our thing. And even though she's gone, on her road trip and stuff like that, and I wasn't invited to it, because we couldn't. And the only reason I say that, but the only reason why I did not go on this road trip is because we both couldn't stay out of work for 10 days. They're going to be gone for a little while. So take care of yourself. Get therapy. Go talk to somebody. Go see somebody. Don't feel like you have to walk this walk by yourself, because you don't. Because, in my situation, I did that. I tried to walk this thing by myself, and I just couldn't. I couldn't make heads or tails what was going on, even though she gave me simple instructions. She told me she said, this is what you did. Think about this. This is what you did. This is what you did to make me feel uncomfortable. This is what you did to disrespect me. This is what you did to hurt my feelings. This is what you did. And so even though she told me all of that stuff, I still gave it the stink eye. Like, what? But every day that passes, it dawns on you more and more. Don't let it be one of those, a brick to the forehead, because you don't want to listen, right? Some men just don't listen. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some men just don't listen, and it's gonna take a brick upside the forehead. It's gonna take a brick to the forehead for us to get it. That's what it took for me. It took a brick upside my head to say, all right, man, slow down, T. Slow down. There are certain things that I realize that I just got to live with. It's something that's my bed. I got to lie in that thing. That's me, right? So it's very important that we look at ourselves. We fix ourselves first, because that's important. If you're walking around with trauma and drama and unforgiveness and arts with people and the petty and all that, if you're still walking around with all that good stuff, you need to stop what you're doing, because you were about to ruin. You know what I'm saying? Just this is an underground reference. I'm sorry, but you need to stop what you're doing. Like legit, you need to stop what you're doing, and you need to get or seek help as fast as you possibly can, because you're destroying another person, right? And ladies, if you are the recipient, or fellas, if you're the recipient, one thing that I learned, and I think Trent Shelton was the author of this quote, and he said, you cannot heal in the same place that you got cut. So if someone, that's what my wife said to me, look, let's just do you, I'll do me, and we'll still be cordial to each other. You know what I'm saying? We still do the family thing, you know what I'm saying? And all that. And I'm not mad at that. But that's the walk I got to walk, and it's fine. It's good now. 2 months ago, it wasn't so great. It was like, But it's very important that we take an inward look at ourselves. Fellas, check in. Because what happens is we get complacent with life. Right? That's the mistake that we make. We get complacent in life, and we think that the person that we're with is going to stay there forever. You know what I'm saying? Ladies the same way. Check in. Conversate. Find out what's going on. Read the room, as they say. Because once it's over, it's over. Once it's over, it's over. All right? And once it gets to a place of non-trust, or you don't broke that trust or whatever, once you get to that place, man, it's hard to come back from it. It's hard to come back from it. It's a daily fight, daily struggle. So with that being said, man, I want to thank everyone who's taken a listen to this episode. I really appreciate everyone. If you guys have any questions, if you have a comment about the show, how I did, if the music was too loud or whatever, shoot me an email at knuckleheadchroniclespodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up on Facebook at Terry Little, or Facebook.com/BullsFan40. That's my profile page. Facebook.com/BullsFan, BullsFan40. That's my profile. Take you right to my profile pic. All right. So you guys be blessed. Have a great night. And I will see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening. I hope I didn't fry your brain too bad. Come back through and give me another chance. You can listen on all platforms and visit us at knuckleheadchroniclespodcast.podbean.com. Until next time, in the words of the incomparable Jerry Springer, take care of yourself and each other.